Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to unpack complex topics, really get under the hood, and show you the hidden mechanics and maybe some surprising strategies.
Mm-hmm.
Today, it's all about finance consulting. So if you've got a handle on basic business finance, well, get ready for those aha moments. We're looking at how these consultants really make a difference.
Indeed. And this isn't just, a list of services we're rattling off.
Right.
Our mission here is to pull out the really crucial bits, the practical stuff, and maybe some insights you haven't thought about. It's all about why these services are so vital for companies trying to get, more efficient, grow faster, and just be more resilient.
Yeah, resilience is key these days.
Absolutely. It's a surprisingly diverse field, and the impact, it can be genuinely transformative.
I totally agree. I mean, think about it, finding hidden savings, navigating huge changes like mergers, or even prepping a company for something massive like an IPO.
That initial public offering, yeah. Huge step.
Exactly. Finance consulting covers so much ground. So, okay, let's start unpacking this.
All right. So at its core, finance consulting is kind of like calling in a specialist pit crew for a company's financial engine.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Their whole goal is to tune it up, make sure it's running smoothly, humming even,
Mhm.
driving everything from, better profits to solid long-term growth. It really is about optimizing that financial heartbeat.
And I guess the first place that pit crew might look is fuel efficiency,
Yeah,
which brings us straight to cost optimization.
you got it.
But this isn't just slashing budgets everywhere. It's more strategic.
Oh, definitely. It's about streamlining expenses without, and this is the key part, without hurting quality or performance. It's a tricky balance sometimes.
A strategic balance. Sounds like it could uncover some surprises.
Precisely. Real cost optimization isn't just about, tightening the belt. Often it's actually about smart spending. We've seen companies invest more upfront in things like AI for their supply chain,
Yeah.
only to see, say, inventory costs drop by maybe 20% in a year. That frees up a ton of working capital. It's kind of counterintuitive, that leaner, not meaner idea.
Right.
Consultants often do this through operational process improvement, basically finding and fixing bottlenecks, getting rid of redundancies, boosting productivity, or supply chain optimization, looking at everything from inventory to suppliers to cut waste and make things more reliable.
That focus on the whole system, not just bits and pieces, seems important, like driving efficiency across the board. But what's a common mistake companies make when they try this themselves?
Whoa, that's a really good question. A lot of times they jump straight to thinking about cutting staff,
Yeah, that seems common.
when really the biggest wins often come from optimizing tech and how information flows. So like technology rationalization, that's not just about junking old software. It's about sorting out maybe years of different departments buying their own stuff, creating redundancies, or figuring out if an old system, maybe it looks outdated, is actually cheaper to run than a brand new one once you factor in the headaches of switching.
Ah, the hidden costs of change.
Exactly. And then there's outsourcing and offshoring. The goal isn't just cheaper labor, though that can be part of it. Often it's about getting access to specialized skills or being able to scale up or down more easily for things that aren't, the company's core business.
Okay, so trimming the fat, getting efficient, that's step one. But then you need to make sure the whole financial engine, the core, is actually set up for the future, for growth. And that sounds like finance transformation.
That's spot on. Yeah. Finance transformation is really about redesigning the finance function itself, making it add more strategic value. Well, for example, operational efficiency improvement within finance. That means streamlining how they do things internally, approvals, reporting, whatever, cutting down processing times, using people better. It's not just faster. It's getting it right the first time.
Fewer errors, less rework.
Exactly. And we also see a big focus on compliance and regulatory alignment, making sure everything is robust, not just efficient. So better controls, better reporting to meet all those rules and accounting standards.
So building a finance function that's smooth, but also sort of bulletproof. What about linking finance more directly to the company's big goals?
Ah, yes. That's where business performance management comes in. It's about setting up frameworks, maybe scorecards, metrics that directly tie financial targets to the overall strategy.
So everyone's pulling in the same direction.
Right. And you can monitor performance in real time and make adjustments quickly. And a huge one, especially for businesses that spend a lot on big assets, is treasury and cash management optimization.
Managing the money flow.
Totally. Maximizing cash efficiency, cutting borrowing costs, managing financial risks through, better forecasting and managing liquidity. Imagine the peace of mind for a CFO knowing exactly where the cash is and where it's going.
Yeah, knowing where every dollar is, that sounds like a solid foundation. But how do you go from just being stable to being really strategic, looking ahead? Now, that sounds like financial planning and analysis, or FP&A. This is where it gets really interesting, I think. Enhancing how a company plans, forecasts, analyzes performance to make better decisions, like a crystal ball for finance.
It kind of is, yeah, if you use it right.
Yeah.
FP&A is about improving budgeting, building better financial models, making management reports more useful.
Okay.
Now, FP&A gets really challenging, but also super critical in industries with huge upfront costs and unpredictable markets, like mining.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. But planning a mine that won't pay off for years.
Exactly. While commodity prices are swinging wildly, geopolitical risks. It's tough. So here, consultants are designing strategic financial planning models. These can stress test investment ideas against, dozens of possible future scenarios.
Wow, that's a leap from just looking at the next quarter. That's shaping strategy for decades.
Precisely. For mining, you've got cost analysis and profitability modeling. That means digging into everything, production costs, commodity price trends to find ways to improve margins.
Finding every edge.
And given the huge investments, capital budgeting and investment analysis is absolutely key. This isn't simple arithmetic. It's serious financial analysis, using things like net present value, NPV.
Which tells you the real long-term profit of an investment, right? Accounting for time.
Exactly. Plus robust risk assessments for those massive spending decisions on new mines or exploration. And finally, financial forecasting and scenario planning, developing dynamic models to see how things like market swings, political instability, or operational hiccups could impact the bottom line. It's about having a financial plan that can actually handle shocks.
That sounds incredibly thorough. Building resilience right into the plan. Now, sometimes a company needs that kind of top-level financial brainpower, but maybe not full-time permanently.
Right.
That's where the interim or fractional CFO comes in, yeah?
Yeah.
Providing that leadership temporarily or part-time. Filling a gap.
Exactly. It's an incredibly flexible role and often crucial during, say, transitions or specific big projects. For instance, financial turnaround management. An interim CFO might step in when a company's really struggling.
To lead the recovery.
Yeah, lead restructuring, put through cost cuts, drive improvements to basically, bring the company back from the edge. They also provide vital mergers and acquisition support, M&A.
Handling the financial side of deals.
Everything from the deep dive, the due diligence beforehand, to figuring out the valuation, structuring the deal, and even integrating the finances after the merger to make sure it actually creates value.
So they could parachute in, whether a company's in trouble or making a big growth move like an acquisition. What about something even bigger, like going public?
Absolutely. A major area is IPO readiness and preparation, helping companies get ready for that initial public offering. That means beefing up financial reporting, strengthening governance, making sure compliance is rock solid for regulators and public investors.
A lot to get right there.
Oh, yeah. And they're often brought in for special project leadership, too. Maybe managing a big new system implementation or a major process overhaul or even restructuring part of the organization. Specific, temporary assignments to get key results.
It really does sound like a financial special forces team. Okay, so you've got the leadership, the planning. How do you actually track if it's all working? That sounds like performance management. Developing systems to measure, monitor, and improve how the organization is doing, making sure the goals line up with the metrics.
And this isn't just about finance. It cuts across the whole organization. Take employee performance management. That's about designing appraisal systems, competency frameworks, development plans. It's shifting from just judging performance to actually improving it, aligning individual effort with company goals.
Okay, connecting individual work to the bigger picture.
Right. Then you have sales performance management, developing the right sales metrics, incentive plans to get the sales team really productive and driving revenue, making sure that engine is firing properly.
So, drilling down into how specific teams are contributing, not just the overall numbers, where else does this apply?
Oh, lots of places. Supply chain performance management, for example. Setting up metrics, supplier scorecards to optimize inventory, shorten lead times, make the supply chain tougher, more resilient.
Trying to prevent disruptions before they happen.
Exactly. And finally, project portfolio performance management. This involves frameworks to allocate resources better across all the company's projects, manage the risks within those projects, and maximize the value of the whole portfolio, making sure every initiative is really pulling its weight for the bottom line.
That's a really holistic view, ensuring every part is contributing effectively. And then, I guess, underpinning absolutely everything we've talked about is risk management.
You got it.
Identifying, assessing, mitigating risks. Minimizing threats, but also, interestingly, capitalizing on opportunities. Building resilience, like financial fortresses.
That's a good way to put it. Risk management definitely builds a stronger, more prepared organization. You see this really clearly in, say, the pharmaceutical industry.
Okay, how so?
Well, supply chain risk management there involves assessing and dealing with risks like disruptions, shortages, raw materials, logistics issues. You have to ensure those critical medicines can actually be made and distributed without interruption. A tiny delay can have huge consequences.
Wow, yeah, when lives are literally on the line. What other kinds of risks are unique there?
Well, there's clinical trial risk management, identifying and managing all the risks around designing trials, recruiting patients, meeting complex regulations, ensuring data integrity. The investment is massive, the scrutiny intense.
Right?
Market risk management is also crucial. Evaluating risks from changing market dynamics, competitors, pricing pressures, how treatments get reimbursed. It shapes how they bring drugs to market.
So many external factors.
Exactly. And finally, operational risk management. This looks across all functions: IT systems, manufacturing, quality control, assessing risks, and planning how to keep things running, ensure business continuity no matter what disruptions might happen, internal or external.
Okay, so what does this all mean for you listening in? We've kind of zipped through finance consulting from cost cutting to managing complex risk. And well, it's pretty clear these different areas, they aren't really separate silos, are they?
Not at all.
They all weave together to create a really robust financial strategy for really any organization. It's never just one thing. It's how all these pieces work in concert.
And that really is the key takeaway here. Understanding these different facets gives you a much sharper lens for looking at strategic business decisions. It doesn't matter if you're, deep in the corporate world or maybe an entrepreneur launching something new or even just someone curious about how successful businesses tick. Recognizing these functions helps you see how organizations push for efficiency, for growth, for that resilience we talked about. Knowledge is always best when you understand it and can see how it applies.
Couldn't agree more. So here's something to maybe chew on after this. In this world that's always changing, how could applying the principles behind any of these finance consulting areas, cost optimization, risk management, strategic planning, how could that apply not just to a giant corporation, but maybe to your own long-term financial planning or even a personal project you're working on? Something to think about.